come from the South Bronx, 1972. This is where hip-hop is born. The day Africa Bambaataa says, enough with the gang banging. We're bringing all the gangs together and we're gonna bang against something more. And we're gonna bring culture. And even though they're taking away music and all those programs, we will draw on a subway, and we don't have to get in the media. You will see the number 6 train go all the way from Brooklyn, all the way to the Bronx, and we're gonna beat graphic image, and it's gonna talk about what crack is doing, about AIDS, about the police. That's why they attack hip hop first. That's why they attack us in the media, via the laws, the war on drugs, the war on all of this, the war on urban space. Most young people are getting caught up because they're graphing or smoking marijuana. That's what's happening in my community. That's what hip hop comes from. The poorest congressional district to this day is the South Bronx, even after the emergence of a culture that's so worldwide. So that's where we're at. People need to make a choice. There's no more time for sitting on the fence. I think Cindy could have been the typical white middle-class mother who lost her son, and she's still going to be supported. I can't even imagine the attacks against her. I've seen the attacks against Cynthia. I've seen the attacks against my comrades, my family, Rebel Diaz.
Yeah, that's right.
Rebel Diaz, who's in the room, they're in the back. I'm not going to ask them to spit. I already did that in my nomination speech. For those people who were mad about why I took 5 minutes to shout out my community, it's the first time hip hop was ever on the map like that. I had to take that opportunity. I had to bring Rebel Diaz, who's from Chicago, who's 2 of the brothers, G and Rosa, his parents are from Chile. Talk to them about their parents being tortured because of the United States government political role in Latin America. Their parents not only lived through that, so they bring up Rosa and G and lock. And what happens? They come back from a trip. They're in the South Bronx. The police, as they do every day in the Bronx, you want to talk about a war? Talk about the war on people of color by the police every day in these communities. They come off the train, just came off a great tour. The police are messing with a brother. They're trying to translate. Within 3 minutes, Rossars and G's are on the police being beaten by the NYPD under the number 6 train while the community surrounding them, questioning them, YouTubing it. They're arrested. Now they have to go to court. On top of that, a week later, the police mistakenly go to G's house with the wrong arrest warrant. You know what? Be very clear. Where do their parents come from? What is the tradition they're choosing to uphold? And why is it that they're going to be hip-hop artists that are not about just making money and what the media thinks hip-hop should be? They're the hip-hop organizers that I am, that we all are. So when they get locked up, they don't stay locked up by themselves. La then, in her strength as a woman, has to gather everybody in the community. And you know what? They gathered. And they were there in their raiment, and we'll be there on September 3rd, and we will be there as long as we need to fight these police. And let me be very clear. It's getting to the point where my generation is making some critical choices about who we see as the enemy. And although we want the war to stop, we're clear that some of the troops that may come home may eventually be the troops that try to oppress internal revolution in this country. So we're not talking about just bringing troops home, right? We're talking about bringing troops home out of a military mindset forever. We ain't joining the military, period. And when we bring people home, we're bringing them home from Puerto Rico, from Korea, and from wherever there's a United States base, and we're not going to support AFRICOM. And we're not going to support any machine that is going to stop us from doing the radical work that is necessary. And within hip-hop, to end, man, I know I took long, but hip-hop, you know, it is multiracial. I'm a race politic person. I came up, I have a very strong racial political identity. But that never has, for a while, it did stop me from working with white people. I had to deal through my own consciousness. And I chose to surround myself with white people who I call anti-imperialists. Not white liberals. No white people feeling guilty about being white. We don't need that. We need white, black, brown people that are united, yellow, American indigenous people that are united around political and public policy that benefits us. So if you're Alberto Gonzalez, I don't give an F how Latino you are. You don't represent me as a Latina. You're Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, or any of these Democrats right now. People from New York that I worked with, Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, Charlie Rangel, all these people who are gentrifying New York, Puerto Rican people who fought about Vieques and City Council in New York, now gentrifying East Harlem. We see you. And this is why the Green Party is the imperative. I will struggle with the Green Party, because at least I know we have a political agenda about social justice and freedom. I'm not wasting my time no more. So Rosa won't be set up anymore by DNC operatives. I know the spaces I'm going to choose to give my energy and struggle with. 6 weeks ago, well, less than 2 months ago, me and my husband and daughter were almost homeless. And who took me in? CodePink. CodePink in DC. And I can't say everybody, but Alicia and of course Medea and Liz, and I went in there and I said, I don't know what has happened to my life. 2 months ago, everything was good. It's a mess. They took me in and they said, this is where you come, we regroup, we love you, and it was an amazing experience because what I saw with CodePink is something that I want to replicate in the hip hop community, this idea that there are these safe spaces for us to go into, right? And that's so important. And I struggled with Alicia, who is one of the younger people. And the amazing thing is, we kept debating, and I kept saying, Alicia, but the anti-war movement, there's a lot of white liberals, and we got to talk about the war at home. We got to talk about the military and the taser deaths and all this. She said, tell me more, and we're talking and talking. And 6 weeks later, we're all in here together, even though people were trying to keep us apart. So we're not going to be fooled. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak and to be able to represent the Green Party. I can represent the Green Party in Humboldt Park while I talk to the Latin Kings, and I can represent the Green Party when I go to Harvard University at the end of September to debate Henry Louis Gates. I will represent the Green Party when I go to the Bronx and talk to my parents and the Puerto Rican old school, and when I'm in Humboldt Park on September 21st celebrating 40 years of the Young Lords, and then when I'm in Oberlin University with Rebel Diaz, rocking it, talking about hip hop is here. That's why I think Cynthia picked me. But I also believe that's how the Green Party has to be. We need to be at Harvard, in the laundromat, on the corner, in the food stamp office, in the grocery store. And one thing we could immediately do that will show the world that we won't allow this in this particular country is we need to figure out quickly a way to mobilize to Pottsville, Iowa, and say what is going on with the largest immigration rate in this country. That you have now locked down the women to the point where they cannot leave their house to get food. You completely isolated them. And then we go to West Helena, Arkansas, a black town, where for the last 3 weeks has been under martial law. And then we make sure that not only we remember Katrina, but that we make sure that on September 18th in New Orleans, that Cynthia McKinney is at that debate. And that's the kind of work that we need to do. We need to do it united. And I'm leaving here once again rejuvenated. I am down to work. I am down to debate. But whatever I do, we have to keep it moving forward. Pa'lante, siempre pa'lante.